problems of society or all the problems that are associated with homelessness, because it's not just people sleeping outdoors. There's a drug issue, there's a crime issue. People who sleep inside also do drugs and commit crimes.
It's a lot. It's just a lot nicer. It just presents a lot nicer.
Well, I mean, it doesn't just present a lot nicer. Like, I've slept outdoors. Like, I used to travel and stuff when I was younger, like not pay rent. I wouldn't call myself homeless because I didn't like live under a bridge or something. I'd like go place to place and like sleep out in between, like when I was hitchhiking and stuff.
Hobo.
Sure, yeah. I didn't ride the rails. Like any guys who like rode like trains and stuff, I didn't do that, so I wasn't real hoboing. But yeah, like I like the term hobo. Other people think it's derogatory. I like it. But I used to do some hoboing in my youth. But at the end of the day, it's like no one chooses to sleep outdoors unless you're like camping out. And it's like most people, if they had the option, poor as they like, however poor they are, would rather live in a real house than a shack or a garage.
True.
And I think that, like, as a basic health issue, I think everyone can agree that it's healthier to live in a real house than a shack or a garage.
Yeah, and I'm sure public health people would be on that jump on that bandwagon as well.
And like you talk about, like, I mean, it's nasty. You go like downtown or over to the water district, and there's a bunch of like feces and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like nobody like wants to poop in like front of a business. Everyone would choose to poop in a toilet or a bathroom if they could, but we all know the bathrooms are locked, and you got to be a customer and all these other things. Right. And like, there's reasons for that. People shoot up. I understand. I've lived in Portland my whole life. I've seen junkies my whole life. I get it.
Right.
But if you don't let people poop, they're still going to poop. They're just going to do it on the sidewalk. And I understood that as a child, and I still understand it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I had a acquaintance that owned a restaurant downtown, actually ended up shutting down. This is before the pandemic, actually. A little bit before the pandemic. But he was just saying, like, it got to the point where there's literally no consequence for somebody peeing or pooping in front of his business, or just, you know, hanging out, kind of begging in front of, like, there's no thing he could do to sort of ask them to leave politely. Like, asking politely doesn't work. Calling the police doesn't work. It's like there's no options left.
What?
Well, I mean, like, we're all familiar with the escalation of force, right?
Yeah.
Like, these people are begging on the streets for food.
Oh, no.
It's like they're already facing a level of violence that it's like, what are you going to do? Come after them with a broom?
What?
Right.
It's like they're hungry.
Yeah. But it's like,
what do you escalate that past to a homeless person? It's like you can beat them in the streets. You can have the cops come, like, beat them or shoot them. Like, that's about all you can do. And even then, there's going to be just another homeless person who moves into that spot because we have a city full of homeless people because people don't get paid enough, and city services go, man, I'll get on my soapbox. I saw a picture today of military budgets in the world. Do you know what the third largest military budget in the world is?
Russia?
The U.S. police force.
Are you kidding me?
Good question. No, yeah, bigger budget than Russia.
No way.
Yeah, I'll send the picture to Antonio's phone.
Are you sure it's not the? Are you sure it's not the union cost?
Hey, Red, you could send it to this message right here, and we could share it.
I mean, what's a union cost, dude? Like, they have tanks. I seen it. I think you seen it. Like, they got tanks.
In Portland?
Yeah. Yeah, Portland police have the like big ass armored personnel carriers and shit.
Dang.
Yeah, they pull that. They waiting for it's in the books. It's like if you do anything too out of line, it's just gonna go down. You know, it's like a war. You know? Like if you get like that riot stuff, if they would have just kept on, then they would have just came killed people.
Right. Because what are you going to do? It's like, if cops kill people, like, that's what happens. Like, I've read history books. Cops have killed people before. It ain't the end of the world. It ain't like they stop the government when that happens. They just go on with their days.
Yeah, because they got so much protection. You got to understand that. They've been doing this for so long that they got so much protection and rights that they can slide out of stuff for anything.
Yeah, and we've seen that.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Like,
what's the purpose of the police force? I mean, what's the purpose of the fire department? Fire department puts out fires, right? What's the purpose of the police force? It's the legitimate use of violence.
Protecting,
you know, it's like you're not allowed to like punch people. You're not allowed to put handcuffs on someone and put them in your car and take them downtown.
Yeah,
that would be kidnapping. But that is the stated purpose.
I can't say that we need some of them, but for the most part, the majority of the officers they do extract too much violence. They're too fast to kill, and they get too mad. Like no control. They don't got no control.
That control piece is. I
Yeah,
think
I have this theory. I'm not sure if it's true because I don't work for the government. I'm not a firefighter, but I'm pretty sure firefighters investigate arson. Isn't that true? Like, or rather, arson investigators are attached to the fire department.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure like fire marshals and stuff like that's part
Yeah,
of their
and
job.
then
That's why they get like the emergency lights on their red pickup trucks.
yeah, they
I could
know
be
they
wrong.
know they know when somebody set up a fire. Then that's
Right.
how you get in trouble. Because
I don't think any.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
they're professionals. They'll tell you if it was an arson set on purpose or
Right, or if electrical failure.
yeah,
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 I don't think any of those dudes are issued guns. Like I've known some firefighters in my day, and I know they owned guns. Like they're
yeah,
Americans. Lots of Americans own guns, especially firefighter Americans.
yeah.
But like they don't issued guns. They're not like carrying guns around.
No, they
But
don't.
an arson is a violent crime.
But they got just as much power as an officer.
They're a
But-
cop. Like
Yeah,
they have like law enforcement power.
yeah.
that-
Even the regular firefighters do.
I don't know about that. I'm just saying it's like what if like we had firefighters like solve domestic violence problems?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Without
saying.
guns.
Regular firefighters have a lot of power, just as much as the force. They got people protecting them and things, rights, stuff protecting them.
Well, I mean, they just also like the firefighters have a lot of training. Like firefighters are
A
trained
lot
to
of
be
training.
paramedics.
They're professional in that field.
Right. And it's like we could have people like that who like responded to domestic violence calls that didn't have like weapons. Like, I mean, yeah, like if you show up and you're from the government, people aren't supposed to shoot you. Like that should be enough protection.
Yeah,
if you need
because
more, there's
some
always
towns-
bulletproof vests.
You're right. Some towns don't have a lot of fires. Don't have a lot of fires, so that's just excess time that they're just sitting around the station, and then they're more expert. Everybody knows it's better to talk to somebody from a fire station than somebody from a police station. They got two different attitudes.
Right. Precisely.
Yeah,
Because they're taught to do two different things. Firefighters are actually there to like protect you and serve you, or I mean, at least like serve the neighborhood by not having it burned down, not like serve us.
That's
like,
how the
individuals
officers.
specifically.
That's how officers are supposed to be, but
Yeah, well,
the power's going to their heads.
and it's just like it's also like the job they're given. It's like if you give someone a gun and you tell them to go stop like strangers in traffic, like you're just not going to get people who are hippies like applying for that job. It's like there's a little little filtering process there. It's like who wants to like go out on the side of the road and tell other people to slow down. I mean,
Right.
I think you remember some of them from school. They were bastards then, and well,
Oh
Mhm.
man, there's so many references, even musical references to that. Yeah, actually, the that book that I recommended Malcolm Gladwell to you earlier, read, but there's another book that he had wrote, I guess, right at the end of 2019. Gosh, what was the name of the book? Look it up. But he's basically talking about how the premise is how bad human beings actually are at detecting detecting lying to tell whether or not somebody else is actually telling the truth. Not necessarily malice, but it was motivated by the police officer that pulled over the young girl. It was in was it Texas, Arizona? The girl that ended up hanging herself.
oh, she was like a college professor, wasn't she?
I think so.
A
Yeah.
woman? Yeah.
But anyway, his point was like they are actually trained like in the worst possible way to be paranoid about everything.
Yeah.
Pull somebody over and just look for any possible thing that you can.
Yeah.
Like to see whether or not they're like you're just assuming everybody's guilty.
Right. Sandra
so-
Bland.
Sandra Blunt, that's the one. And so it was kind of a routine stop with that exact frame of mind. And so the fact that she was like, what do you want me to get out of my car? What? Why are you pulling me over?
You know, other places.
Why do I
in
have
the
to roll down my
islands.
window? Why do I have to?
And then there's like several people from France and several people from Africa.
What landmass are we talking about?
This is in England. It was in London. The plague pit in London from like the 1400s.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so like people talk about like, oh, there weren't black people in England. Like, oh, you have these, you know, like they have historical like, you know, TV shows or whatever, and they'll have like Roman legionnaires who are African.
Man, those are
And
the
it's
first slave traders, the 4 continents over there, you know.
I mean, the first, I think the Egyptians might have been the first.
Yeah.
Well, the modern day version of I shouldn't say modern day. The United States chattel slavery was actually,
Right.
I think, started by the Arabs in Africa. So Muslims in Africa way back.
There was a Muslim slave trade in Africa. It was part of the spread of Islam in Africa was the fact that it was generally banned. Slave trading was banned between Muslim nations. So by becoming Muslim, you could like get your neighbors to stop invading you for slaves. Like at a point in time, you know, like that's just how like religion spreads sometimes, is it's socially valuable. I mean, the American chattel slavery system, I think, is somewhat unique to the modern capitalist era.
True that.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, Arabs definitely had been like slave trading, but I mean, I think that goes back to the Egyptians used to slave trade. I mean, that's in the Bible. Like the Egyptians bought Joseph from like some dudes, and that's how Joseph and his coat of many colors wound up in Egypt. Is like the story I remember.
Right. No, that's the story.
So like, I mean, the practice has been around for a while, but specifically the chattel slavery is a practice that's tied to like modern economics.
Yeah. No, that is true. And then even the United States was like pretty committed to the slave trade for capitalistic reasons, even after Britain stopped or banned it or whatever.
That's why Ghana has that hookup with us, because that's where they were getting us from. You know, one of the spots, one of the main spots.
Yeah.
I think there's slave castles there. Yeah.
Can't remember that.